Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much to the organizers and the Asian Racing Federation for having me here today to speak about the U.S. Jockey Club's welfare initiatives. As mentioned, part of my title probably doesn't include it, but a lot of my daily duties deal with welfare, safety, and aftercare of racehorses. So this is an important area to me as well as to the U.S. Jockey Club. Horse racing in America faced one of its most difficult years in 2019. A spate of fatalities at one of our most revered racetracks, Santa Anita, has brought our sport under the microscope of the media and the general public like it had never seen before. Through print and online media, the public was inundated with the negatives of our sport. Sources that don't often cover horse racing were sharing headlines about horses dying on the racetrack. Residents of California, one of our biggest racing states, were calling for an end to horse racing. We also had photos of a racehorse in a landfill making the rounds on social media. As we've heard from our previous two speakers, Australian racing has faced similar scrutiny over the past year over horse slaughter, which America also faces on a regular basis. Even though horse slaughter is not legal in the United States, our horses are transported to Mexico and Canada for slaughter. The Jockey Club has long been opposed to the slaughter or processing of thoroughbreds for consumption by humans or animals, and this includes sale and transportation of thoroughbreds for slaughter. In the US, many groups have come together to try to make racing safer and to promote welfare of our horses. That is one belief that we all share. However, we face a problem that many of you probably don't in this room, and that is discontinuity and fragmentation of our industry. We have more than 30 racing jurisdictions with different rules, different regulations, and different penalties, and no centralized regulatory authority. The Jockey Club has for years tried to bring the industry together, especially in the issue of medication. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Horse Racing Integrity Act, which is currently pending in the US Congress. This will create a private, independent, national authority responsible for developing and administering a strict anti-doping and medication control program, which will put US racing on par with major racing jurisdictions around the world that already race without medication. I realize federal legislation is probably not an initiative that crosses many borders, so what I would like to do is share some of the initiatives that the Jockey Club has taken over the years to ensure health and safety of our equine athletes and our sport. They aren't specific to the US, and so hopefully some of these might be ideas that you can take back to your own racing authorities and perhaps enact to improve your welfare or safety or aftercare. I'm going to show a quick video that will highlight a few of our initiatives.
With aftercare, there's so many people in our industry that care a great deal about the horse.
Aftercare of thoroughbreds is taking a horse from its job as a racehorse or for breeding and giving it a second career.
It's a huge challenge because horses live for quite a while, but it's a challenge that I think we need to take on and have taken on and are increasingly good at. To the extent we can provide some financing, particularly as we can collect monies for people registering their horses, but it's a big job.
One of the most successful programs the Jockey Club has been involved with is the Thoroughbred Incentive Program. It started out as a program that incentivized horse shows to have thoroughbred-only classes. It's kind of created an event where horses are coming from all over the country and being able to highlight their thoroughbred in competition at a new career.
The Thoroughbred Incentive Program provides financial and prizes and awards in the show ring for thoroughbreds to compete for.
The number one issue is safety and health of both the equine and the human athletes.
The Thoroughbred Safety Committee is something of an ad hoc committee that Jockey Club formed, and what we do is try to look at new areas where either from a staff perspective or a financial perspective we can dedicate resources to making advances in equine safety, as well as jockeys. I mean, there's clearly an emphasis on working in ways that we can find progress for the jockeys, whether that's the databases for their health records.
The Jockey Health Information System was established by the Jockey Club to be able to record health information about jockeys who are riding throughout the country. equine database was established to maintain records of horses that had been hurt on the track, either through training or racing, and be able to come up with ways to prevent injuries from occurring again. The equine injury database was first launched in 2008, and it's the first injury database of its kind. Another is the Racing Services Testing Laboratory, which provides analytical information about racing services. The Jockey Club in Grayson hosts the Welfare and Safety of the Racehorse Summit that brings together experts to discuss ways to make racing safer.
At the end of the day, I want people to understand that we were right there in ensuring that the industry grew and that we had integrity. What we do in the future needs to always evolve. But I do think what we've done is an incredible story that people could associate with and be proud of.
So the beginning of the video showed the Jockey Club supported initiatives page on our website. It's a very long list, and the majority of these initiatives were in place well before the media attention started last spring. Many of the Jockey Club's initiatives that I'll speak about today were born out of the welfare and safety of the Racehorse Summit. The summit, first held in 2006, brings together a wide cross-section of the breeding, racing, and veterinary community to improve safety and soundness for the thoroughbred racehorse. We will hold our 9th summit again this June at Keeneland. Our industry also faced scrutiny in 2008 with the breakdown of 8 bells, just past the finish line on America's most iconic race, the Kentucky Derby. In the aftermath of that tragedy at the 2008 Welfare and Safety Summit, we formed the Thoroughbred Safety Committee. This committee reviews every facet of equine health and recommends actions the industry can take to improve the health and safety of thoroughbreds. So far, the committee has made 34 recommendations. Some of the major accomplishments can be seen here on this slide. One of the most recognized initiatives of the Jockey Club that resulted from the very first Welfare Summit is the Equine Injury Database, or the EID. Funded entirely by the Jockey Club and designed and developed through its commercial subsidiaries, Encompass Solutions and the Jockey Club Technology Services, along with leading regulatory veterinarians, the EID is the first national database to record injuries occurring during racing and training. With the data from the EID, we are working to identify the frequency, type, and outcome of racing injuries, identify markers for horses at increased risk of injury, and provide a source for research directed at improving safety and preventing injuries. Research conducted to date by Dr. Tim Parkin using data from the EID has led to the identification of multiple risk factors for horses at an increased risk of fatal injury. These include the history of a previous injury as recorded in the EID, horses that have had their first start as a 3-year-old or older, and participation in sprint races shorter than 6 furlongs, particularly on dirt. Increasing transparency in our sport is an important element of the Jockey Club's continuing efforts to build customer confidence in horse racing. Since March of 2012, racetracks have been able to voluntarily publish their fatality statistics from the Equine Injury Database in the Safety Initiatives subsection of the Jockey Club website. So far, we have about 34 racetracks that have chosen to publish their statistics, and they are listed here on the slide. The first year for recording data in the Equine Injury Database was 2008. Since then, fatal injuries have decreased 16% across all racing surfaces, indicating that the American thoroughbred racing industry's commitment to equine safety is paying dividends. Having such a database is vital to any racing industry that hopes to decrease injuries and learn more about why they occur, which is the first step in preventing them. Just as important is a centralized database to store all treatment records, where the Thoroughbred Safety Committee has been advocating for since 2013. The Jockey Club developed the Electronic Treatment Records database in 2019, and this is the first national database for racing regulatory authorities to more efficiently manage the reporting of medications and procedures administered to horses in training. Such a database enhances collaboration, improves efficiencies, provides information resources that can be more readily stored, retrieved, and analyzed, and facilitates the monitoring of horses of interest in pre-race examinations and post-race testing. This creates opportunities to use intelligence for improved testing opportunities. All racing jurisdictions should be able to share information about racehorses. And as a global sport, we should be able to share information among countries. Transparency and sharing of information result in faster, more accurate research that benefits the entire global industry, and ultimately will help prevent injuries, protect our athletes, and show that we're all working toward the same goal. Another key to preventing injuries is track maintenance. The media attention this spring brought track surfaces front and center, particularly dirt tracks, and the general media and public began questioning Santa Anita's racetrack. This attention was focused on every racetrack that raced after Santa Anita last year as well. The Racing Surfaces Testing Laboratory, which was formed in 2009, has been integral in maintaining the safest tracks possible in the United States. Mick Peterson, the executive director of the lab, was a key figure in explaining the realities of track surfaces and easing the fears about the Santa Anita surface. In addition to its original sponsorship of the Surfaces Testing Lab, the Jockey Club has vowed to commit certain capital improvements to the lab for equipment and other assets to expand services to additional racetracks in the United States in 2020. Maintaining safe racing surfaces should be a priority for every racetrack in every racing jurisdiction, no matter the surface or location. There are many other initiatives that the Jockey Club supports that could benefit any racing country, and I urge you to visit our website and feel free to contact us if you'd like any information on any of them. I encourage you to also read our white paper, which we published last March. Now, however, I'd like to spend the rest of my time on an issue that I'm positive affects us all, and that is aftercare of racehorses. The negative media focus our industry has had in the last year has dimmed. However, the focus on what happens to our horses after their racing and breeding careers come to an end is only going to become more acute. Racing industries worldwide should be cognizant of this fact because it is not exclusive to American racing, and the love of horses and how they are treated is not exclusive to Americans. A great resource for us all is the International Forum for the Aftercare of Racehorses. IFAR was created specifically to recognize geographical and industry differences among racing countries and is designed to enhance thoroughbred aftercare worldwide. You should all take advantage of IFAR's Aftercare Toolkit. This kit provides 6 strategies that constitute a roadmap for jurisdictions beginning their aftercare journey and also serves as a foundational checklist for those more established countries. In the United States, we have aftercare facilities for all breeds of horses, as well as some that focus solely on thoroughbreds. In 2012, the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance was created to accredit, inspect, and award grants to approved aftercare organizations that retire, retrain, and rehome thoroughbreds. The TAA was created to provide industry-wide funding for these organizations to continue their aftercare efforts. TAA's accreditation and inspection procedures ensure that aftercare establishments provide and can continue to provide high standards of care to thoroughbreds as they leave the racetrack and transition to a second career or to a sanctuary home. TAA also raises funds to support these accredited facilities. Initially funded by seed money from Breeders' Cup, Keeneland, and the Jockey Club, the TAA is now composed of owners, trainers, breeders, racetracks, jockeys, aftercare professionals, and other industry groups, all supporting the efforts of the aftercare organizations. Today, the TAA has 74 accredited organizations in the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico. These organizations operate 160 facilities that offer a variety of programs, including rehabilitation, retraining, adoption, therapeutic riding, and sanctuary. In its continued support of the TAA and 2 other aftercare organizations, Thoroughbred Charities of America and the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, the Jockey Club donates $25 of nearly every registration-related transaction to support organizations' aftercare efforts. Another aftercare program that can be emulated anywhere is the Jockey Club's Thoroughbred Incentive Program. This program was launched in 2011 and is particularly dear to me as I created it and administer it to this day. TIP, as we call it, recognizes and rewards the versatility of the thoroughbred through sponsorship of thoroughbred classes and high point awards at sanctioned horse shows. Has a year-end performance award program, will have 2 championship horse shows in 2020, and also offers non-competition awards to a non-competitive thoroughbred such as a therapeutic riding horse or a police horse, as well as a young rider of the year. In 2020, we will offer over 7,000 awards at 1,400 horse shows in the United States and Canada, and to date, we have about 26,000 thoroughbreds enrolled in the program. We also have a recreational riding program and a youth ambassador program. Youth ambassadors are a great asset to help spread the word about the athleticism, diversity, and versatility of off-track thoroughbreds through their print and social media options. And they also help to shine a positive light on our sport, as well as thoroughbreds as an option for young riders and adult amateurs to be able to compete. Since 1894, the Jockey Club has been dedicated to the improvement of thoroughbred breeding and racing, and we touch on every point in a thoroughbred's life, from registering them as foals to helping identify them at the racetrack, to funding aftercare initiatives when their racing and breeding careers are over. Thoroughbreds are the reason we're all here. They are the backbone of our sport, and I think everyone in this room can agree that keeping our equines safe is paramount, not only because it ensures the success of our industry, but because it's the right thing to do. Thank you very much.